Welcome to my channel. If we haven't met before, I'm Kari Greger.
How you doing?
I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm making plant-based Greek yogurt. It's made from almond milk, and the special information is a frozen starter, homemade. Let's get into it. We need 1.5 cups of almond flour. This is just plain ground almonds. You could use whole almonds, but I find almond flour is very convenient. To this, add 2.5 cups of water. So this is going to make a very thick, like cream almost, almond cream. Take that to the blender and blend it until those particles are pulverized. Give it up to 6 minutes in the blender. This is my nut milk bag. It's used for straining the milk to get rid of some of the pulp and make the milk smooth. Notice that the seams are turned so that you have a smoothness on the inside of the bag and the seam is on the outside. And that's to prevent the particles from getting trapped in there. It makes it much better for straining the milk. This is how you check to see the smoothness of the milk. You dip your finger in it and rub it. Now you can see this has a few bits of pulp. So I know there's going to be pulp in here to strain out. Just put a bowl underneath the milk bag and pour the milk in. Then it's just a matter of squeezing the milk, squeezing the bag, twisting it, manipulating that, squishing that pulp so you get as much juice out of it as you can. I'm checking the smoothness. Yes, this is way smoother. There's not nearly the pulp there was before. The pulp is actually useful when you're making cheese or some other non-dairy product. It is more of a whole food because you're using the entire nut of the almond. Let's open up this bag and see. Look at that. It's quite a paste. It's quite a lot of pulp compared to the amount of milk that we made. Isn't that impressive? Don't throw it away. You can make something out of this. You can make a dip. You just mix some green onion in there and garlic and onion powder, and you could make a spread for crackers. You could also add a little bit of yogurt when you're finished making the yogurt, and you could make a soft cheese out of it. There's lots of uses for this pulp. Now you can see it's totally smooth though. It's so smooth. I'm going to pour it back into the blender. I add 1 tablespoon of sugar. This is food for the bacteria that we're going to introduce. I have never tried using anything but sugar for this purpose. It gets completely eaten up by the bacteria. Yogurt starter. I use a yogurt starter that I make myself from the previous batch of yogurt. I freeze it. It's frozen in the freezer for months. You just portion off. It's kind of like sourdough. You portion off a bit from the previous batch, preserve it, and then it's ready to use whenever you want to make a new batch of yogurt. I started this batch, this strain of yogurt starter 2 years ago. And I haven't had to use a yogurt starter since. It's cryogenics for your yogurt in your freezer. It stays alive and ready to grow as long as the freezer is 0 degrees Fahrenheit or warmer. I used to use capsules like these ones, even though they aren't recommended to use as yogurt starter. But it was so much less expensive than the powdered yogurt starters that you can get from the store. And I was making it from scratch with these every time. And then I discovered that it stays alive in the freezer. So now I don't have to go for the cheap option. I can use a proper yogurt starter and it extends it. It's much more economical to keep it frozen. So you will find yogurt starter in the description below, links to a suggested yogurt starter. You can use capsules if you want to, whatever you want to do to get the process started. The thing is, you don't have to, you can pay a little bit more for a quality yogurt starter because you have this option of keeping it in the freezer. Is that good value? Give me a thumbs up below, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when another recipe is posted.
No big secret, just love yogurt.
I'm going to add the frozen yogurt starter. You can still see there's a few chunks in this. I'm just going to toss it into the blender. I'm not too worried about there being chunks. Do not put your frozen yogurt starter into the microwave. You don't want to kill the bacteria. You have to either let it naturally defrost, or when it just gets soft enough you can put it into the blender. You pulse it a few bit in the blender to combine it, and we are ready to let our yogurt grow. Here we go, our lovely yogurt with the starter in it. It looks just like milk, but wait 24 hours. Okay, putting it into the Instant Pot, making sure the valve is over to vent. We need to vent it. Then I press yogurt. You can adjust the time. I want 24 hours, and that's it. It's going to set it and go off.
Take it you also want the customary 24 hours to prepare?
Do I want the customary?
Yes, you do.
I would love to take advantage of the customary 24 hours if you don't mind.
Very well.
24 hours later, here we have our yogurt. Now take a look at how thick this ends up being. I'm just going to scrape on the top because there's liquid in the bottom, but look at the thickness that this gained just from that milk. See, that's the bacteria, that good gut bacteria that we need for digesting our food. This is a wonderful probiotic food. First thing I'm going to do is weigh out some yogurt starter for the next time. This is when you have to do it, right after it has been processed. So I put in my measured amount for how much yogurt I'm going to need. That way I don't have to worry about defrosting yogurt and then just portioning off a bit of it from the yogurt starter. I put this in these jars pre-measured. I'm doubling the recipe that you've been given, so I have 5 tablespoons of yogurt starter instead of the 2.5 tablespoons. I do it by weight, so for what I am making here, the amount that I'm making, I need 88 grams of yogurt starter. It really is helpful to have a good kitchen scale to do this process. It's much more precise than just measuring out tablespoons. Make sure you label each of your jars. I'm doing 2 starter batches here. Make sure you label with what's inside and the date. And I put it on top because I've got a chest freezer, so I'm going to be looking down from the top on it. I just received my Amazon affiliate status, and so I've got links below in the description of the video. If you use one of those links, it helps me maintain my affiliate status, so please use the links. It doesn't affect the price that you have to pay for anything on Amazon, but I will get a small commission, which is the way you can help support this channel. Thank you very much.
What are you guys doing here?
I guess we all really wanted yogurt.
We want to add a little bit of salt. For this amount of yogurt, you need 1/8 of a teaspoon. That's what's in the recipe. I'm using 1/4 teaspoon because I've got a double batch. But that salt will help the yogurt stay fresh in your refrigerator for up to a month. I've had yogurt that was just fine, and even past that. The salt is nature's preservative, and it helps fight off the bad bacteria. Look at this. We've got filling the jar, and I've got a nice quart of yogurt. So I'm labeling this yogurt with salt and the date that I made it. And I'm putting it on the side of the jar because this is going in the refrigerator, so I'm going to be looking at it on the side. And we're going to see how it thickens up as it chills. The yogurt starter goes into the freezer. The trick in freezing the yogurt is that your freezer has to be above 0 degrees Fahrenheit. This is 11 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's well above 0. And here's my little yogurt start batch. You can see I've got some from May. I guess the earliest I have in here is March. Putting it in the freezer and keeping it above 0 degrees is how it stays alive and active, ready to be reactivated for months. Cryogenics.
Did Dad ever talk to any of you guys about cryogenics?
You're insane.
This is the yogurt that we made recently here by straining the almond milk. This is yogurt that I made before. These are about a week apart. I made them. And this one, it is very thick. You can see this is not straining the almond milk. So that's the difference here. You get a lot thicker yogurt if you don't strain your almond milk, but this yogurt is going to be smoother. So, I'll just try a little bit. Oh yes, nice and tart. Oh, that tastes so good. And it's very smooth. Wow, this is very good. I think that if you like to eat yogurt straight without anything added to it, even if you wanted to mix this with some fruit or use it as a topping for fruit, this is really good. You're going to get your probiotics there, and it's so nice and smooth. It's like store-bought yogurt, just not quite as thick. Now this, you need the little extra thickness. I'm going to do a taste on this one. It's the same recipe. It's just this one was strained and this one wasn't. Now that, it's almost like whipped cream, it's so thick. Wow. They taste the same. This one's just got a little bit, I can feel it, just a little bit of pulp. Not excessive. Yeah, but just a little bit of pulp. Now, I like to keep the pulp in and not strain the yogurt when I go to make cheese. So any kind of cheese, or if I'm going to be using this for a purpose beyond just plain yogurt, I don't strain it because I want the thickness. I want the fiber. And if you want to use it in a drink or then this is the option to go. If you want something that's really smooth. Tastes fantastic. It's so sharp. It's got that real pucker Greek yogurt taste to it. It's very good. If you got some good information from this video, please give me a thumbs up below. Now, next video, I'm not quite sure what it's going to be because I'm on the roll here to start making semi-firm cheeses. And I know that for some of the cheeses, you're going to need this yogurt that is unstrained. You're going to need that yogurt. So that's why I did this. Next week is probably going to be something that's going to be bringing us towards making cheese, a hard cheese. I say semi-firm because you can cut it with a knife, but it's a harder cheese. You know, it's not just a melty like a cream cheese. So If you want to follow me along in the steps of making firm cheese, click the subscribe button below and hit the bell so you know when the next recipe is posted. And leave me a comment. I'm watching the comment section. I will be able to answer any of your questions that come up. So go ahead, let me know what you think, how it tasted, how it works out for you. Okay? Thanks for watching.